Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this crew here for your live streaming today. I don't even know what date. Oh, it's January the 19th. I'm a bit confused because I was laid up for a few days this week and I had planned to get so much done in those few days. But Delphi and I are leaving on our road trip today back home to Canada. So we have 7 days of driving, which is a big project, but mind training really helps. I do want to make a little announcement regarding our subscriptions. We are coming up on our 3rd anniversary, believe it or not. And after much soul searching and contemplation, I have decided that it's going to serve us best over this next year if we continue on monthly subscriptions. The reason I'm doing this is because making a year-long commitment to be there every second week with my increasing assignments, with the lessons, with mentoring, which I'm going to be developing, and a larger number of retreats, I would like to have the option to stop if I need to. And with a year-long commitment, I have taken your money in advance. And so that is what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of you coming up for subscription renewal as of February 14th to 20th. So please, when you get that notification, you should get a notification saying that your subscription is going to expire. You can go on to the website and sign up for monthly subscriptions if you so choose. That is how it's going to look at this time. And if I feel differently at some point in the future, I will make adjustments. So thank you all of you for your annual subscriptions and hanging in there and being there every month and week, every transmission. And there's just a lot of things happening that make this year very, very busy. And I don't want to overcommit myself and feel pressured. So that's that. So remember, February 14th is when a lot of you signed up, but there were several of you that came in a few days after that. So you will be getting those notifications. I've turned off all of the automatic renewals. If you get an automatic renewal by mistake, if I have missed one, I will cancel it and notify you immediately that you need to do a monthly subscription if you'd like to continue access. So that's the business. Let's see what Jesus has to say. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And of course, we are always very, very pleased to have these moments with you in your physical 3D bodies. Of course, we are with you all of the time. You are never alone. We will always hear your prayers, always hear your supplications. But you must remember, sometimes the processes that you are going through that you would like to avoid are for your greater benefit. So, for example, this being went through several days of quite intense back pain this week, but because of her training, she immediately went to what is going on here energetically. Not did I lift something heavy and blame it on the physical world. Remember, level confusion, that is level confusion. The body is manufactured by your belief systems, thoughts, ideas, feelings. And so you all will save a great deal of time if you have physical issues going straight to that idea of where in this body I am inhabiting is this pain manifesting. What does it feel like? Does it feel like inflammation? Does it feel like a block? Does it feel like something loose and wobbly? Or does it feel like something constricted? What chakra is being affected here? So we're going to go into our dear one's personal experience. She does not mind. She's an open book. This is part of her work, is to allow her experience to inform your experience, although she is arguing a little bit in the back here, but she really does trust us to not reveal too many deep and dark secrets. And so this being had pain in the center of her back, that moved down to the sacral chakra. So the back of the solar plexus is old, personal power issues. And the movement down to the back of the sacral chakra is past relationship issues. So that's exactly where she went, and that's exactly what she contemplated as she was laid up in the recliner with a hot water bottle on her back. She did the work that allowed the pain to be relieved. And what that was addressing the issues that were brought up to her. Now, she did have a channeling session with a friend that advised her where to look. It is important for all of you to remember that your blocks often prevent you from getting the information that you need from spirit. Why? Because they are your blocks. You've empowered them with your great creative power. You believe in them, and on some level, you have wanted them. You've been too afraid to open into a particular area, or you've been deeply conditioned not to open into a particular area. So with our dear one this week, she was addressing feelings of overwhelmment as it relates to this work, because she is taking on a lot more responsibility this year. Even the daily lessons of A Course in Miracles, as many of you know that we are doing together, this is a great commitment on her part, and commitment is not her strong point. She is a galloping Sagittarius horse and loves to be free, loves to be able to choose what she wants to do when she wants to do it. But this part of her earthly growth experience is now directing her towards making commitments for this work that are partly designed to assist her in realizing that she can make a commitment to something she loves, something she wants, and she will not lose anything in making that commitment. So, for example, the real estate deal that this dear being is involved in, with the end goal of owning a piece of property that can become a place for holding retreats on her beloved Salt Spring Island. This is taking her through many of her blocks: commitment, banking institutions, debt, financial fear, community, cooperation. These are challenges for this being. She has been quite a solitary worker in her dedication so far, which has been perfect. That is what she needed to do to produce the business and the platform and the incredible amount of work that she has produced for all of you to participate in. This was not a collaborative effort there, although there have been some supports along the way from certain individuals. But in terms of this greater expansion into her next chapter of this work, she now is going to have to face many of her blocks. She faced many of her blocks in these early days as well. Our dear one had a complete phobia about being filmed, about having her picture taken. Well, she is completely okay with that now. It does not bother her. She has gone through the painful relinquishment of the hateful beliefs and ideas that she had in her mind that made being filmed and photographed a cause of suffering for her. So what we want you to get from this, it is not about what our dear one is doing, but it's about you looking at what you're doing. You, through your passions, are going to be gently led through the blocks that you have brought into this incarnation with you, the things that you couldn't figure out in other timelines. So you are going to encounter yourself as you go towards your passion. And this is a very fundamental teaching that we want to really get anchored in your minds this morning, is that on your path to passion, you will encounter all of the blocks that you have given yourself to clear on this incarnation. Now, Spirit is not cruel. It does not give you all of your dreaded fears in one big box of worms. It says, follow your passion, and as you go through that passion, one by one, the things that you fear will come into your life. But because you're on the path to passion, with joy and happiness, eager to get up each day, when you encounter a block, you will not be overwhelmed by it, because you will be so energized by the fact that you have been on the path to following your passion. If, however, you're not on your path to following your passion, guess what happens? Your blocks still show up, but you're not on a path of joy. You're not on a path of passion. You might be in a marriage that's dead and time to move on from, or you might be in a job that you hate, or you might be living in a place that doesn't suit you. If you're sacrificing yourself or forcing yourself to stay put in a situation, experience that is done for you, you are still going to encounter your blocks, and you're going to have negative upon negative. And this is where the feeling of overwhelmment, the trials and tribulations of Earth's experience, can really cause you a great deal of difficulty. So this being has many roadblocks that we are going to be working with her to overcome, to bring into manifestation the next part of her expansion. You are all assisted as well in your expansion. And as we have said many, many times, the planetary expansion is going on as well. And so you are well served to hang out with Gaia on a regular basis, lay on the grass, sit on a rock, be out at sunrise and greet each day with joy, and talk to her and the sun. Be out in the sun in obviously reasonable amounts of time. If it's a burning sun, you can always be in the shade and pop out and say hello to the sun. If it's an Australian summer, for example, do not be foolish with these recommendations. But be in nature as much as possible, because these planetary bodies, this stellar body, the sun, is upgrading you all the time now. There are massive waves of magnetic and solar radiation and energy coming, full of information. Gaia is moving upward in frequency, and you will too if you get out into those natural vibes. So we understand that seasons are annoying. Sometimes it's too hot, sometimes it's too cold, but do your very, very best to at least have an hour outside, consciously communing with nature. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and I will return shortly for questions. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Giving away all my secrets. Well, why not? There are no, was it? There are no separate thoughts. Okie doke. Oh, okay. The Course states that God is changelessness. I hope I got this right. That's from the person. In other words, God is completion or perfection. I wonder, if God is changelessness and we are extensions of God, then why do we need to expand our consciousness through experiencing contrast on this plane? Isn't the purpose to change, expand God's source through our experiences? Question mark. Good question. Let's bring Ananda in for this. We're with you again, dear ones, and as usual, we are very, very pleased that you are with us. We are very, very grateful for all of the work that all of you are doing and the commitments that you are all making to raising your frequency and to doing your forgiveness practice. Your forgiveness practice, remember, is your action statement to the universe that you understand that you are not a victim of this world, that you are a creator, and that you're not going to attack the reflection because you will be attacking yourself. We remind you of this because it's an easy thing to forget when you see the world changing. It's very easy to say, that thing is a threat, or that person is a threat, or that system is a threat. They are all reflections of the fear and powerlessness that you have been indoctrinated into. You are taking back your minds, you are taking back your connection to source, and you are removing the blocks to your awareness of love's presence within you. So this idea of, if God is changeless and you are a part of God, then why the heck are you doing anything about it? Can't you just relax and be? Absolutely, you can relax and be. But that's not what you all do. You worry and you fret and you attack and you cower and you charge into impetuous decisions, and you do all kinds of things that are not about relaxing into your true nature. That is where we are taking you. The lessons of A Course in Miracles, of course, are designed to reveal to you those blips in your consciousness that cause you upset. The stories you lay upon the world, the judgments you lay upon people, the fears that you empower by acting as if they are great monsters. It is true that you are an essential piece of the Godhead, the universal consciousness. You are that. But this place, this earth plane, this 3D earth plane that is rapidly increasing in frequency, we will tell you that currently this 3D plane is the place you come when you have forgotten that, when you have come to believe that you are less than that. And so you come to this place to experience what you believe in and what you are empowering, your belief in separation. And it is not being done to you, but it is merely a reflection of that which you believe to be true. And if you say, well, no, I do believe that I am a part of God and that I am a holy being, which of course we know that you are beginning to believe, each of you are stepping along that road day by day. But every time you attack, every time you fear, every time you abuse yourself or have a hateful thought or judge a politician or hate a different race or scream at your children or do something like that, you are experiencing still yet the part of your mind that has not been healed. So it is a demonstration of your state of consciousness. Your physical experience is a demonstration of your state of consciousness. So if you feel restriction, fear, contraction, it may not be a devastating restriction, fear, or contraction. You may just go, oh, I don't want to look at that. And that may not seem like a big decision, but you are powerful creators, dear ones. Just going, I'm not going to look at that, changes everything. And this is not to make you afraid of saying, I don't want to look at that, because you can't help it. If you have a belief of fear that you have not yet addressed, you will automatically go, I don't want to look at that. But those negative feelings, those little dips in your frequency, are the messaging system to get you to look at it. And it is okay if you say, well, I know that I've got this issue with X, Y, or Z. We won't put words into your mouth. And when I look over there at issue X, Y, or Z, I feel fearful. I don't want to go over there. It's too much for me. Those words alone are you saying, I'm going to keep that for a little while. It's not how you look at it, but that is what you're saying. I'm going to keep that for a little while. That keeping your blocks and darknesses and shadows sacred is you remaining in separation using your free will. So we want you to see that you are choosing to empower your separation through these negatives, ideas, beliefs, and your emotional guidance is giving you feedback on the frequency that your consciousness is holding all the time. And it is up to you, using your free will, using these teachings, using your discernment, using your forgiveness practice, to pick away at that little lock that's keeping you in the lower frequencies. So God is perfect. God is timeless. God is everywhere, in everything. And This place is a place of separation where that seems to not be true. How can God be everywhere and in everything? It is true, but this place is illusory, and it is a place of freedom given to the ego to play out its games. And so, just as parents watch their children playing cowboys and Indians, the parent does not believe in the game. It observes, but it does not believe in the game. When the cowboy shoots the Indian, or the Indian shoots the cowboy, the parent does not go rushing in and say, no, no, do not kill each other. The parent laughs and sees the cowboy fall down or the Indian fall down. And it knows, the parent knows that it's a game. God is like that with this world. Just watching you playing your games, knowing that your bodies are not who you are, knowing that you are eternal spiritual beings, knowing that you will eventually stop playing the game and come in for a break. So it is your beliefs. It is not anything to do with God, what is going on this plane. You are given free will. You are given the ability to choose. So what we want to say here as a footnote to that commentary is certain beings on your planet have used trickery to get you to choose things that are not in your benefit, in your consciousness evolution benefit. And we want you to know that it is important that you have free will. That is the fundamental basis on which your spiritual evolution is founded. So if your free will is being tricked every single day into doing things, and it is being tricked every single day into doing things, your society is founded on propaganda, your entire entertainment system, your entire movie production systems are constantly pushing you towards the products, the experiences, the drugs, the alcohol, the materialism that the societal orchestrators want you to be drawn to. And you find yourselves in a little bit of a pickle, find yourselves in too much debt. You find yourselves in dysfunctional relationships because you've been watching relationships on TVs and movies your entire life. You've been watching a program teaching you how not to love. So we're going to go into this a little bit because we want you to truly understand why we ask you to back off from certain entertainments. There has been a concerted effort to condition men and women in different ways so that they actually cannot meet, that they cannot stay together in healthy relationships. So you've got the hero of most of the movies, which is a loner, generally a man, generally violent, generally very good looking, but taciturn and a man of few words, generally very macho on that scale. And in the feminine, you have got the princess model, you've got the fairy tales of Snow White and these beings being rescued by big, strong men who come in at the last minute to save them. The female model is beautiful, it's young, it's often underpowered. And so these are the threads of training that each of you have in your society. And then as you become a little bit older in your society, then the sexual objectification starts for the females, the wearing of provocative clothing to objectify the body, the constant stream of information coming through mainstream media that beauty above all is the most important thing, not your intelligence, not your passion for life, not your creativity, but your boobs and your booty are considered in this society your valuable assets as a girl, a young woman. And then the boys are taken into the violence of aggressive games. They are taken into the war movies. They are taken into the superhero movies where everything is resolved by violence. And so what you have are the young females of your society looking for a prince to save them and obsessing about their bodies and beauty. Very, very powerless place to be. and the young men of your society being aggressive, macho, drinking, smoking, and seeing women as a commodity. This is not how it was 100 years ago. We are not saying it was perfect 100 years ago. Your society was being controlled to a certain degree back then as well, but the escalation of the programming has become worthy of intervening. That is what's happening. So when you have entire generations being conditioned into what are combative roles with each other, the fundamental structure of your society is beginning to break down within the family, within that foundational relationship, the parents, the potential parents of your next generation are conditioned into warring with each other and seeking that which is not conditioned in the other. And so this is a difficult time for your society, because the suffering that is induced by these programs is very, very real to those suffering. Does God have anything to do with this? Well, God is allowing you to use your free will to the degree that you wish to use it to chase whatever idols you believe in. Now, there are a lot of people who get into their 20s or 30s and realize that their conditioning programs are causing them great suffering. Young girls who become anorexic or bulimic or so obsessed with their bodies that they cannot function, at some point may wake up enough to go, I am off track here. But with the constant and continued programming from your mainstream media systems, that is a very, very difficult thing to do. And if you've been raised on this kind of technology and constant media indoctrination, it's almost impossible, because the programs are so powerful and so unrelenting. So we want you to know that that is one of the reasons that the communications from spirit are becoming so much more pervasive, more people channeling, more opportunities to learn, more opportunities to transform your own mind. But you are free to do as you choose with your time. And at this stage of your development as seekers of truth, 2019 is a time for you now to really take a look at the dregs of your old programming that are no longer serving you, whether it's food habits, drinking habits, TV habits, habits of thought, not moving your body enough, fearful beliefs that keep you limited and stop you from following the guidance that you are getting to expand your lives. It is going to increase over this year and next year and the year after that. So we want to say to all of you who are watching today, we want to say to all of you, do not put this off anymore, because it is inevitable that the increasing frequencies are going to ask you to address that which you have not yet been brave enough to address. It's going to continue on, and the ascension process is not going to stop. The energies are picking up. You are going to be much better served to preemptively go towards that which you know is still lurking in your basement. It is with great love that we say this to you, not because we don't understand your fears or your resistance. We do. We know the programs are powerful. We know that you've done this for so long that it's hard to stop, whatever it is. But we are encouraging you this year to really take an honest look at where you have not yet addressed some of these inconsistencies. So, for example, you may be saying one thing and feeling a different thing. Time to get your feelings and your words in alignment. Now, your feelings need to be addressed from an elevated and conscientious point of view, not just blurting your feelings out, but saying what is actually going on in here and why am I not speaking it? Why are these two things out of accord with each other? You want to go into that exploration in solitude. You want to go into that exploration, or with a trusted spiritual counselor. What is going on inside me that is different than what is going on in here and here? Creation requires thought, word, deed to be in alignment. 100% of you must be on board to bring something into physical manifestation. So if you want to move to a new place and have a nice home, a cottage in the country, let's say, that's your fantasy, and yet you are living in an apartment in the city, you must first say, I chose to live in an apartment in the city. Why did I choose to live in an apartment in the city? I have to live in the city to earn money. Let's look at that belief. I have to live in the city to earn money. Is that true? Does everybody on the planet live in a city? No. There are a lot of people that live in rural or suburban environments, less than cities. So that belief that you just cited as a reason for you being in the city is an erroneous belief, because not everybody lives in the city and not everybody makes their money there. So you want to adjust that belief. You want to say, at the time I moved here, that is what I believed. And I seem to be hanging on to that belief because I just said it. But there are people living in villages and on farms and on communes and in retreat centers and wonderful little places all over the place. They do not have the same belief as me. Therefore, it is not a truth. It is an opinion. It is an erroneous belief. This is one of the ways that you can begin to address what's going on. So if you just blurt out your feelings, I can't leave the city, I don't have enough money, I can't get a job, and lay that on somebody with whom you are discussing, you are really being somewhat abusive to them by vomiting your untrue ideas onto them and perhaps getting into an argument over it. We want you to say, my beliefs and my words are in accord. I believe that I have to be in the city to earn money, and I'm saying I have to be in the city to earn money. So guess what? That is your creation. You are in alignment with that belief. Thought, word, and deed are all in accord, and so you are stuck in the city to earn your money. So in any place where you are stuck, you want to address the inconsistencies or consistencies of your thought, word, deed. So we will leave it there for now. You are given free will here, free will, dear ones, here. All that is allows you to create whatever you want, miscreate whatever you want. We will return shortly. All righty. That was a long answer. Let me just plug in this little, and I'm going to have a little drink. Okay. Wow. Carl, you've been firing questions our way. This is from Carl. Can Jesus or Ananda speak about one, several, or all of the words below and their true meaning? Self-worth, courage, integrity, willpower, determination, allowance, surrender, confidence. Okay, self-worth, courage, integrity, willpower, determination, allowance, surrender, confidence. See what Jesus has to say. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And we want to remind you that your words in your language are symbols of symbols. They are the attempt that the limited mind makes to express certain frequencies. So self-worth, for example, is can be interpreted in several ways in the normal consciousness. So self-worth can be that, oh, I'm valuable because I'm a doctor, or I have a nice car. Some people get their self-worth from those kinds of material things because they're programmed to do that. True self-worth, however, is understanding that you are an eternal spiritual being, having a temporary physical experience in a body that is housing you, that is not you. And if you truly take that belief and integrate it and own it and act as if it's true, you will have self-worth that is real self-worth. It is based on something that is not going to change. You are never going to not be an eternal spiritual being. You are always going to be that. That is your nature. Confidence is an effect of self-worth. When you know that you are an eternal spiritual being, that you may seem to be threatened by outside things, but those outside things are reflections of unconscious and thoughts and ideas in your own mind, and you respond accordingly, your confidence is going to go up tremendously. True confidence comes from knowing what you truly are. False confidence comes from investing in things that the ego values. So you will find people who are extremely confident, but are totally ego-driven. Those things, however, that they base their confidence on are not permanent things. And so their confidence is built on a shifting, unpredictable base, and they may lose it very, very quickly should they lose those things. So, for example, someone may be very confident because their body is beautiful and they are getting a lot of attention because of it. The body, of course, is not a permanent thing. And that person who's got a lot of confidence because they have a beautiful physique or face or combination of the two will lose their confidence if they are perhaps in a car accident and lose that beauty or that physical perfection. So you want to check in with yourself and ask, where is my lack of confidence or confidence coming from? If you've got a lack of confidence, that means that you are not seeing yourself as a divine aspect of God mind, an eternal spiritual being. You are seeing yourself as a fallible human body, not particularly worthy, not particularly strong, not particularly wise, and so you will lack confidence. Most of these words can be addressed in that way, and we won't go through all of them, but you want to go to the fundamental place where you get your strength, confidence, knowing from, and that is that vertical connection to source energy. So you are not going to the world, you are not going to other bodies, you are not going to institutions for your succor or your strength or your money or your happiness. You are going inside for those things. And it is important for you to see that language can have 100 words for one thing. That alignment with source energy, with truth, with your knowing that you are an eternal spiritual being having a temporary, albeit exciting physical experience, that fundamental knowing of that truth is going to give you all of those words that seem to be separate and seem to be potentially able to come from different places. So that is what we would like to say is the answer to that question. The multiplicity of words, the multiplicity of definitions is a form of separation in that sense. We want you to go to the feeling of self-worth, the feeling of confidence, the feeling of peace, the feeling of knowledge, this steadfast and unwavering foundation on which all of your choices, all of your interests, all of your decisions are based. So instead of referring to the world to get that feeling of confidence or self-worth, you go inside and reiterate the truths that are revealed to you in Course in Miracles text and lessons. Your holiness is powerful. Your ability to tune into love and extend yourself your creativity. These are the things that are going to give you the experience of 1,000 different words used in your society. Go to the start, go to the heart, go to the foundation of how you perceive yourself, and all of these descriptive words will become yours. We will return shortly. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. What is déjà vu? And how can we use this to our benefit and growth? Okay, short and sweet. Let's ask Ananda. We're with you again, dear ones. Déjà vu means already seen. It is a familiar feeling, as if you've done something before, and indeed you have done many things before. The idea of déjà vu as a weird experience is because of your linear Newtonian training in being immersed in time, in one straight line from past to present to future. Only you, only one life, only one dimension, no variables allowed. Déjà vu is a familiar feeling because this timeline that you seem to be stuck in, let's say your lifetime, this moment in time, you perceive it as a line, I was there and now I'm here and tomorrow I'll be there, is a very restricted way of seeing your experience. You are actually reliving much of what you have assigned to yourself in this incarnation. And this is something that is very, very difficult for the linear trained mind to understand. So we will expand upon it here. You are remembering your life. This does not seem so. It seems as if you are in a video game where you are creating your life. Well, you are doing both in some ways. And this is what we call a spiritual paradox. For you to believe your experience, for you to grow, for you to challenge yourself, for you to have the actual feeling that something is new to you or that you haven't got it and you want it, for you to act in this world and to play the game, so to speak, you have to suspend that higher level of knowing that you have done all of this before. If you knew that this is really a pre-arranged experience, you would not buy into the lessons. You would not buy into having that experience. So, for example, when many of you have played video games, some of you have not, but the video game comes with a multiplicity of end goals. If you choose this door, you'll have this experience, and if you choose that door, you'll have that experience. However, the programmer has programmed all of those seemingly fresh experiences and adventures into the program. So, should you be able to, as a video game player, step up above the game, you would see that there are branches and branches and branches of potential experience already decided upon by the programmer. And that is the best way for us to explain it to you. However, when you are the player and you get into the game and suddenly a monster is leaping out of the woods on that particular path that you've chosen in that game, you react as if it's real. You battle that monster, and you either win or you lose. You succeed and move further into the game, or you get annihilated and have to start over the game again, just as you do in this experience. Some of you get annihilated in this game and you have to start over. It does not mean that the game is completely new and fresh. You will have recollections of having played the game before. And that is what déjà vu is. And that is a very, very good analogy, because you can see that in the game, you seem to be making fresh choices, but the pathways are all predetermined. And when you get annihilated and have to start the game over, you will recollect, I've been along this path before. The difference, of course, with the incarnational playing the game again is that you come in with forgetfulness. You come in without knowing that you've played the game before necessarily. But as you expand your consciousness, you're going to have more and more bleed throughs from this kind of multiple timeline excursion into consciousness. So as we have said many times, the time-based nature of your consciousness says, I had a past life in Egypt, or I had a past life in 14th century England. But these are all happening at the same time. Time is not real as you understand it from above the battleground, from above the 3D world. It looks like the video game to us. We see all the pathways, we see all the potential experiences, and they are going on at the same time, and you will get bleed throughs, one from the other, one to the other, and you can affect one timeline from this timeline. So if, let's say, you have a belief that you have an Egyptian life experience, you can, in meditation, begin to venture into that timeline. You can begin to ask to have access to other timelines that you're interested in, and you will be given information from that timeline, and that timeline, that you in that particular other game, will feel your influence. So you can step away from this idea that you are a victim of previous incarnations. No, you're not. You are having bleed through experiences. Let's say you have broken your leg in this lifetime, and you have a vision or a dream or a deja vu experience, or whatever you want to call it, of another lifetime. Perhaps you go to a psychic who gives you this information that you died falling off a horse and your leg broke and you bled to death. And in this lifetime, you're like, oh my goodness, that's the same injury. In the linear mind, you will say that the past life caused this one. That is not how it goes. You are experiencing similar experiences to gain knowledge. So you will assign yourself similar experiences in other incarnations. However, in this time and place, this is the life that you want to work on that particular experience. So instead of saying, oh, I broke my leg because I broke it in a past life, poor me, I'm a victim of my past incarnations, you can say, if a broken leg happened then there, and it's happened again, what is the lesson here? What am I trying to experience with this broken leg? Instead of saying it's wrong, it shouldn't have happened, you can say, it's happening in other incarnations. What is it teaching me? Well, when I have a broken leg, I have to look at my overly independent nature where I won't ask for help, or I have to develop determination to heal it. And I'm not a very determined person. I'm kind of a wishy-washy person. So maybe determination is what I'm assigning myself. So these limiting beliefs that you have and linear beliefs that you have about what your life is, there's only you, there's no other lives, there's no other dimensions, there's no other timelines, that is going to not make sense as the frequencies of your planet increase, because you are going to begin to have more and more what are called spiritual experiences or otherworldly experiences or contact experiences, whether it be with an extraterrestrial or a loved one who's passed away or a spiritual non-physical teacher. These are going to escalate. Why? Because they are higher in frequency, less materialistic, less time-bound. Remember, the body, time, linearity, materialism are in the lower 3D realms. And as you get upgraded, you are going to have more of these. So be enthusiastic about having these experiences. Ask about whether you can be shown another incarnation where you're working on something, and can you be shown what the particular subjects are that you need to look at, although you will all know what you're meant to be looking at in this life, whether it's financial fear, sexual blocks, creativity missing from your life. You all know where your challenges are, and your other incarnations, generally speaking, will have the similar challenges, because that's what your oversoul is assigning you to work on through these various timelines. We will return shortly. Oh, yeah. Interesting stuff. Okay. I have to have a little drink. Just a moment. Chat amongst yourselves for a minute. Would Ananda or Jesus speak on the topic of sound and vibration as healing modalities for the body? I'm coming to understand that mind is everything. Yet until we actually have clarified minds, is this the resource for supporting the body's healing processes? I think that came from Dawn. Hello, Dawn. I'm in Dawn's office, by the way. That's this beautiful space that I've been blessed with this month. Okay, let's ask Jesus about sound healing. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And I always start with that little statement so that you know it's me. It is a familiar appellation, we will say, calling. And the sound of that triggers in you a relaxation, a response. Sound healing can be used, of course, via the voice. Words can soothe the savage beast. A beautiful song sung by a person can transform your mood. The music that you love. Stevie Wonder our being loves Stevie Wonder. Whenever Stevie Wonder comes on, she will instantly shift frequency. That is sound healing. The bird singing its sweet song at dawn, sound healing. The rustling of leaves in the breeze in the summer, sound healing. So we want you to expand your idea of what sound healing is. You are all guided to sounds that you love. The sound of silence is sound healing. There is a sound to silence, that beautiful, deep quiet that you get in your world. Very rarely, actually, but there is silence, as silence is a healer too. So sound healing in the sense that you're approaching it, whether it is gongs or crystal bowls or chimes or chanting, all of these bring a shift in frequency to the being that is in alignment with that frequency. So just as your teenage children may listen to heavy metal, you call it, and you immediately shut down, your frequency and the frequency of that music are not in alignment, and so it's intolerable for you. What we want each of you to understand as it relates to your subjective experience here, go to the sounds that you love, and for you, they are uplifting. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know which bell, which song, which chant, which words to sing. You know by what? Your guidance system, your feelings. You will say, when I listen to that person sing, it is like heaven. And so do that. Just do that which makes you happy. Again, once again, following your passion, not overly intellectualizing. But if you're curious about different sound healing modalities, that is spirit saying, you need to investigate this a little bit. You might want to include this in some of your teachings. You might want to include this in some of your therapies. You might want to learn what sound healing modality aligns with you and your work. So that is what we would say to each of you. If you're curious about anything, that is us tapping you on the shoulder and saying, have a look at that. There's something in it for you. We tell our dear one, you do not have to have verbal guidance from us every single day. You are having emotional guidance from us every single second. If you're interested in something, that's us saying, take a look at it. There's something there for you. This might be the modality that takes you down a particular path that is going to get you where you wanted to go in your video game this incarnation. If you are obsessed with something for a little while, this happens with our dear one. We get her focusing on something that she needs to learn about in depth, because at some point in the future, she may be posed a question about that in her own ordinary consciousness at a dinner party, for example. Someone may say, what about this subject? And lo and behold, hasn't she been deeply immersed in learning about it for 3 months without knowing why? We do this to her often, by the way, and you will find that we do it to you too. That we will say, investigate permaculture, and you'll find yourself watching permaculture videos. You'll find yourself signing up for a permaculture course. And you'll be thinking, what is going on here? Why am I immersed in this? But what will be happening is a recalibration of your interior world in preparation for the fact that, oh, your great aunt, Uncle Bob just passed away and left you a piece of land. Lo and behold, aren't you already prepared for owning that land because you've been studying permaculture for 6 months? And you will think, what an interesting coincidence. It is not a coincidence, dear ones. You are in training programs. Every single one of you are in training programs, and our influence comes to you in the form of, take a look over there. Doesn't that sound nice? You might want to look at that. Go here, go there, talk to that person. All of these are potential healing therapies. So if you're interested in sound healing, know that you're already doing it by listening to music you like or enjoying the sweet song of that bird first thing in the morning. But dig deeper if you are curious. We will return shortly. Oh, goodness. Okay. I love it when a question starts with, but last time you said, okay. Last time you said that you usually put the things you need to deal with in this incarnation in a family member so that it becomes hard for you to ignore it. I don't understand this. I mean, aren't the laws of attraction always going to give us what we need in order to wake up? Thinking of this, why do we even have to plan our lives in advance? Karma works anyway, doesn't it? And our desires will speak through us anyway. And everything in existence happens perfectly. Everything is perfect, isn't it? You tell us not to make plans. So why does spirits do? I think that's just a translation issue. Isn't it counterproductive? I'm also addressing free will here. Is it real or is it an illusion? You say that when you wake up, you can create anything you want, but you can't decide what you want, right? I'm reading this because I find it very funny. For your will is God's will, and so life and creation flows naturally through you. In other words, you don't make any decisions, ? Okay, that's kind of a long and rambling question, but I thought it was quite funny. So this is about free will, law of attraction. Why do we have annoying family members? Aren't we going to wake up anyway? Let's see what Ananda says about this. We're with you again, dear ones. These are all questions coming from the ego, trying to quantify and compartmentalize and understand everything that is going on from a spiritual point of view. It is impossible, dear ones. Your consciousness in this 3D separated, fearful state And we don't mean that in a hateful or judgmental way. It's just where you are is going to constantly butt up against lack of understanding, because your minds are designed to experience single-pointed focus in the physical, seemingly physical experience that you're having, so that you can truly experience. These are not theoretical things that we're talking about here. We want you to know what it feels like to have a hateful thought about yourself and feel how awful that is. That is an important experience for those of you here, separated, fearful, unstable, contradictory in your own beliefs and ideas. It's an important, simple experience for you to say, when I do that, I feel awful. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to choose again. This is important for you to understand, that anything that you are experiencing that is negative, fearful, limiting, terrorizing, confusing, again, and we know we sound like a broken record here, but they are you being shown to you. You want those things. You believe in those things. Otherwise, they would not be in your consciousness. Even if they are hidden from you, they are hidden from you because you want them hidden from you. They scare you. They intimidate you. You don't know how to handle them. And so you push, repress, control, get them out of the seeming self that you think you are and put them below the surface. So things like free will are needing to be redefined here, because if you have all of these things under the surface, churning and attracting and manifesting in erratic thoughts or suicidal thoughts, or reflected back to you in an unloving world, your free will is caught up in these lower frequency beliefs and ideas. You are not yet up in the above the battleground location that we want you to get up to. It's a frequency location, not a physical location. Surrender, acceptance, forgiveness from the ego's interpretation sound very passive. They're not passive at all. They are informed actions. Again, we will say, something happening to you that seems to be victimizing you, if you attack it back, you are attacking your own mind. Acceptance. Let me look at what I have created and ask, is it good? That is a basic use of your free will, an informed use of your free will. Let me look at what I'm creating and right in front of me, my family, my friends, my feelings, my education, my finances, everything, my health, everything. Is this good? If it's not good, if you're saying, oh, that's a problem, and that's a problem, and that's a problem, turn it around and go, okay, I need to stop worrying about why this is happening to me. I need to say, it is happening to me. Let me look at it and ask myself, what is it trying to show me? Oh, these are all unloving things. They all make me feel unworthy. I need to go inside and look at my unworthiness. If you feel unworthy, you are not in a place to determine a healthy, wonderful, happy experience here. You are going to have to address that issue first. Surrender is another seemingly passive action defined by the ego mind. Surrender means I'm white flagging it. I'm not even going to fight anymore. Exactly. Don't fight anymore. Look at your life. Look at the manifestations. Look at the condition of your body mind. Look at what you have created and say, if I've created this, I'm choosing things with my free will all the time. And that is why a clarification process is so important, because the chaos of the egoic choices makes makes a mess and causes suffering. And so you will say, well, I don't have any choice in this. I don't seem to have any choice in this, but you do. Everybody is choosing thoughts, actions, words, deeds, investments every single moment of every single day. You must accept where you are, look at what you're doing and say, okay, I am choosing this over and over again. How do I know? Well, because it keeps showing up in my reflection. It keeps showing up in the world. It keeps showing up in my body. It keeps showing up. Humans in the 3D body, in the 3D world, given your conditioning, given your training, and we say this with great love, are very, very, very slow learners. You have been taught to suffer and sacrifice and martyr yourselves. You have been taught to shut yourselves down. You have been taught to act powerless when you're powerful. And it is these erroneous beliefs and ideas that cause you this kind of confusion. You have been given the means to shift your consciousness. Stay focused on the means that you have been given. Continue with your mind training lessons. Continue with practicing those lessons. Stay on track and determined to see the world differently, determined to manifest things differently. You must bring your free will into focus and saying, I do not like what I am seeing. I have been given the means to change it, and so I am going to stay focused there. Your free will is yours. You can choose to hate yourself or love yourself. Nobody will interfere with you. You will feel the difference between hating yourself and loving yourself, and you will get feedback. One will feel good, one will feel bad. If you've been trained into suffering and sacrifice, you will keep feeling bad. If you believe that that makes you holy, or if you believe that that makes you special, or if you believe that that keeps you in a safe situation where you don't have to show your beauty, show your prowess, show your magnificence. There are many beings who stay small because bigness terrifies the living daylights out of them, and they will create, manufacture, miscreate a multiplicity of people, places, and things to keep them small. So we would like you to look at your free will from this fundamental place. I get to choose. Do I choose love or fear in this moment? That's the only place right now where my free will needs to be addressed. Your only point of creation is the eternal now. What are you choosing now? What are you choosing to say to yourself? What are you choosing to argue about? What are you choosing to focus on? What are you choosing to empower? It will have direct and tangible results in your life. And if you surrender to that reflection, looking at it with curiosity and acceptance, saying, what have I created here? Do I like it? Do I want more of it? What is it teaching me? What am I learning here? You are not cursed, dear ones. You are given the opportunity to experience your beliefs in full 3D surround sound technicolor. That is what's going on here. We will return shortly. Oh, goodness. Okay. I'm going to have a little sip of tea here. Jesus and Ananda told us that whatever we focus on, good or bad, grows. I understand this is how the law of attraction creation works. We focus on a thought, feel the emotion, and allow things to come without resistance. Of course, this is easier said than done. However, I wonder if the law of attraction creation is the same as the law of cause and effect, known as karma. Are these two separate laws the same thing? Is karma a wrong interpretation of the law of attraction? Very good question. Let's ask Jesus. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And this is one of those academic questions that comes up quite frequently. You are going to attract to you that which is of the same frequency as you, as a demonstration of your creative power and as a reflection, so that you can choose whether you would like some more of it or not. Karma is the ego's version of that, laden with a little bit of punishment and fear. That if you plant bad seeds, you will be punished. That implies that there is a force, a conscious entity, let's say God, outside of you that says, oh, bad person, bad thought, you are boom, you're going to get a slap up the side of the head for that. It implies that there is a judgmental force outside of you. Generally speaking, that is how karma is interpreted. There is no being punishing you. There are many beings encouraging you. There are many beings informing you. There are many beings influencing you in small ways to get you to look at certain things, bringing you opportunities at times. We are not allowed to override your free will, but we are allowed at times to embellish your free will. So we can throw a few little extra crumbs of information or little bright lights to get your attention and say, look over here again, or a dream. We often use dreams as a way of informing you and helping you understand what's going on. But there is no punishment. It is a loving universe in that sense, even in your separation. And this is something that all of you still remain confused about often. Why would I have come into separation? We say, ask yourself that question. Why did you come here? What low frequency ideas and beliefs do you hold continuously, repeatedly, employing them again and again in your life? Why are you doing that? That is what's bringing you into separation. The universe, God, all that is, the great universal consciousness, gives you freedom, because giving a being freedom is loving. It's not loving to have a bird in a cage. It's not loving to have a horse in a corral. It's not loving to pen creatures up and prevent them from having freedom. It may be practical. It may be what you've been taught to do. It may be your idea of loving, but it's not loving to imprison. And so God, love, all that is, universal consciousness, does not imprison you. It says, you believe in this, you believe in that, you believe in that. Go down and experience them. See how it goes. I'll be here, we'll be here when you're done, when you've had enough of those beliefs. So karma is the ego's version of the law of attraction, basically, with a little pinch of vindictiveness thrown in there. And of course, it is not your fault. Thousands of years you've been taught that to sacrifice yourself is holy, to no matter how good you are, God will still punish you. God will still inflict pain upon you. So it is not your fault, but we do want you to address these ideas as they show up in your consciousness. If you hear yourself saying, oh, they deserve that, you'll think, oh, there's that little belief about punishment coming in there. How about I reframe my world and say that person somehow has a frequency match to that thing? Somehow I have a frequency match to that car accident that I had. Somehow I have a frequency match to overeating. Somehow I have a frequency match to being arrested. Whatever the experience you're having that seems to be bad karma, somewhere, somehow, some way, you have a match to that frequency in your consciousness, and you are very lovingly being shown it in physical manifestation. Because why? It gets your attention. It gets you to look. It gets you to say, oh, that's the third time I have been in that kind of situation. There's a pattern there. Who's the common denominator? I am. I think I might want to take a look at this. But as we said, humans are very slow learners. Why? Because you love the beliefs you love. You love the fears you have. How do we know that? You keep them alive. You keep acting as if they're true. You keep talking about them. You keep sharing them. This is why these mind training programs and these lessons are so important for all of you, to remind you the default setting here is separation. If you do not actively use your free will to choose love, the ego will choose separation and attack. It is just the way it is here. Those beings that have overcome separation, that have integrated love, the true definition of love, into their consciousness, do not have to come back into this lower frequency experience. Some do. The name for them is a bodhisattva, a highly evolved being who will choose to come into physical incarnation to assist those who are stuck in the karmic circle and cycle of life. They come in with wisdom. They come in knowing that the battleground is not where they are meant to be. They're above the battleground, but they come into physical incarnation at times to assist you on your evolutionary journey. Fewer and fewer beings are doing that now as bodhisattvas. There is an increasing messaging system coming through channels such as this one, and inspired writings and creativity. The ascension process is well underway, dear ones. You are all feeling it. You are all getting increasingly vivid experiences of where you have yet to shift. So as we come to the end of this day's live streaming, we want to remind you that everything you have not yet dealt with is going to begin to be presented more quickly, unrelentingly. It's not going to go away. So we would like each of you today to go to that subject that is your most difficult subject. You all know what it is. You all know where you struggle, where you have fears. And make a determined effort over the next couple of weeks to really delve into that subject. And in meditation, ask for guidance. Before you go to sleep, ask for dreams to be helped in freeing up this block or this limiting belief or idea or fear. And focus your free will and intention on revealing and assisting your healing in this particular area. It does make a huge difference when you say, I'm all in here. I don't want to take this into the next year with me. I'm done. Please lift me up out of this low frequency belief that I have and let me choose freedom. But I need assistance to help in understanding why I keep doing this, feeling this, believing this. So that is our homework for all of you today, dear ones, to pick that subject that is the most difficult and begin to address it in small ways, in meditation, in prayer, in dream, in journaling. We love you very much. We are very, very pleased that many of you have been with us for the entire 3 years. And as our dear one said earlier, there is an anniversary coming up. And we want you to look at your commitment to this work. It is intended to support you. It is intended to give you a helping hand up when you feel as if you're falling down a little bit. And we will be here with our dear one. In spite of her increasingly full schedule, we will make sure that time is found. We will speak to you again soon. Oh, goodness me. Okay. All right, my beloved people. Once again, I am going to just remind you that I'm on the road for the next week, driving home to Canada with Delphi. And then I will be on retreat for the week after that. So the next live streaming will be on February the 17th. And between the 10th and the 17th, if you would like to address your subscription renewal or subscription cancellation, I would really appreciate it. It can all be done automatically through the website. The monthly subscription button will take you through the regular process, and your annual subscription ending will be notified to you by an automatic mailing system, I believe. But if it is not, know that you can go in and check in your subscription when it runs out so that you can preemptively deal with that. If there are any automatic payments, I will refund them and remind you to sign up again monthly if you would like to continue having access. So if you do see an annual subscription payment go through your PayPal account, try not to panic. I go in there frequently, I get notified, and I will refund it to you as quickly as I possibly can. It's best if I don't get tons of emails about it. It just clutters things up. So I will get to it quite quickly. So know that I will do my very best to make this a smooth anniversary transition. And thank you all for joining me. And I'll see you in a couple of 3 weeks, I guess. Love you. Bye.